Alright, I hope you guys are all doing well. Just want to do a quick little video here on Beyond Meats. This is going to be ticker symbol BYND. Now, I made a video about this stock along with NIO just a few days ago, but I wanted to point out, just something that I'm seeing here on the charts. Now, I mentioned on the previous videos that we are kind of coming down, reaching this last little support right around here, around this 77.50 mark, and that if we were to break down through that, we might end up somewhere down lower, maybe towards the lower 60s, and if we were to break that, we might end up back down here around 45 eventually, just kind of like a slow bleed to the downside. Now, we have bounced. We sank a little bit lower than the mid 77 mark. We sank down a little bit lower, and we have since bounced. And you can kind of see here on the PPO, we are starting. We've got this big old wedge formed all the way back from June. And it looks as if we are wanting to break to the upper side of that wedge. We're starting to see the price level kind of flatten out here, and it looks as if it's wanting to pop back up. But there are some concerns that I do have, and that being that I would venture to believe that this is still overvalued. The price of Beyond Meat, that this $80 per share seems a little bit high to me, but it's always what someone is willing to pay. So if we can be in this for a short period of time and following this big drop all the way from the 240s, we see it level off down here around the mid 70s to the $80 level, and we start to see it continually close above the 100, the 200-day moving average, on the longer term time frame. So I'd start on, say, the 4-hour, which we have now closed above the 50, and we are now closing in on the 100-day moving average. That's what I want to see. I want to see that we have leveled off. We've set our low down here around, say, $75, $76 a share, right? We had this impulsive move. You can see this little wick right here. We had this little impulsive move to the downside. But it was bought back up, and we sent the price higher. So we dropped in a low, and from there, we have now trended back to the higher side. Here on the hourly chart, we have now closed above the 50, 100, and the 200-day. You can see the run-up that we had early this morning, breaking through that $83 level and then selling back down. And we closed just like right on the 200-day moving average here on the 1-hour chart. So as we move into Friday, if we have any shorts that are still in Beyond Meat that we're kind of banking on this breakdown around the 77.50 level, and they did not get out when we had this morning pop on Tuesday, and we start to move to the upside, this could be a bit of a squeeze situation where we start to see the price maybe venture up near this $85 mark. And from there, if we were to break through 85, which was previously a resistance on the last press higher, we could start to see some quicker moves as the shorts who are really wanting to sink this thing down back towards the IPO price, or at least the initial open price around $45 a share, might start to seek some cover and take some profits from the higher levels that they got in for the time being. So definitely some potential to make some profit here. I think, again, from my previous video, I said that it could be nice to have a level right around here, around the 77 flat mark, with a stop loss around the 75.50 mark, I believe was right. And we actually came pretty stinking close to filling that order back here on Friday. I think it was Friday last week. Thursday of last week, we saw this drop down, and we were really stinking close to the 77 mark. I missed it by about 20 cents, but you can see we poked down to that level, and then we bounced back up. So that would have been a nice little, say, I know my initial target level was $85, but to see a move like this, and then you kind of start to see it fade off at the late end of day, you could have been sitting with a nice 3.5% gain if you were conservative, and got in around that $77 mark. And from there, we kind of stayed flat on Friday. Monday, we sold down. But again, you really got to put in this plan before, to pick this nice little the price zone where you want to get in. Now, again, if I would have gotten in on Monday, I would have gotten in at 77, and I would have almost been stopped out immediately. So that's why whenever I say these levels that you need to pay attention to, and maybe you want to put an order at, you have to understand what the market is doing. Or just the individual stock is doing. How is the momentum swinging? If I had an order floating around for 77 bucks a share, and I saw that in the first hour on Monday it was selling to the downside, I might want to pull my order off the table or drop it down a little bit, to see where it's going to level out. Because most likely, if it has this much steam in the first hour, the second hour is going to blow through that support just based off of momentum, and it may swing back up to it, but you just kind of want to feel it out and see what the buyers and sellers agree on as a level price. And you can see we kind of did that on Monday. It was right around the 76.50 to 77 range. Dipped down on Tuesday, then bounced. So this is what I'm thinking is our low. We had this impulsive move to the downside. It was a confirmation of breaking this 77 mark, and then the buyer stepped in. They rejected that breakdown. The buyer stepped in and have been pushing us higher. So seeing something like that met with good volume down here, and then it sold back down. In the start of the next morning, we bounced, and that was a good sign that we came and retested that $77 mark, and we bounced. We sold off a little bit, but we didn't go lower than what we previously saw around 77, showed good support, and then we followed through today, Thursday, even higher. So, a lot of resistance that Beyond Meat is going to have to press through. But just looking at the price action over the past, say, 4 to 5 trading days, it's looking pretty good for Beyond Meat in the short term. Again, it still has more to go through, to start pressing back higher, and starting a new bullish trend to the upside, when you compare it to the decline that it has seen. So just to go over some quick levels here. Let me throw it back to the 20-day hourly chart. Again, we're going to want to look right around here. Take it in a little bit closer. Right at the top from today. So we'll call that $83. We'll mark that as the top. Other than that, I'm going to be heavily looking right around this $84.60 mark to $85 flat, just based off of the trading that we had back in here. So as we start to creep higher, I'll be looking to see, is there momentum taking us higher, or is it kind of just fizzling out, and are we going to fade back down, fade below these moving averages? That's what I'll be looking for. At that point, if we take out 77 again, I think we could see us back down here around 73 and moving even lower. So, that's just my opinion as we close out the week and we move into the next week. Just things to pay attention to. Lastly, here on the daily, we are starting to see the RSI pull out of the oversold range, which, that's not a huge thing to pay attention to. That's not going to swing me one way or the other. But we've also broken the 9-day moving average here on the daily, which we have not done in quite some time, while we close just right above it, which theoretically I want to see it close with a nice green candle, a good chunk above it. But maybe we'll see that on Friday. It is still a positive sign. So thank you guys for watching. I hope that you took something out of this and learned a little bit from it.